good afternoon.
Ped's back.
I was never gone.
I know, but I think people were worried about you yesterday.
I feel like, I feel like I've been dragged in off my sick bed, and it's not acceptable. Just so Baz can have a couple of days with his child.
But you're better today, aren't you, than yesterday? Yesterday, I thought I was worried for you. Today, you've got a bit of oomph in you.
Little pep in my step.
You was like 10% yesterday. Today, I'd say you're about 40.
I'll tell you what I am, right? I'll check. Do you want to know? I'll check my body battery, right? From my watch.
Yeah.
And my body, that's my body battery.
Oh, 5%.
5 out of 100. It charged 2 over. That tells you how much sleep I had last night. It charged 2.
Wow. So
it says I had 2 hours and 14 minutes sleep last night.
So
there you go. So all this is just coffee induced. Yeah. This is just pure coffee. Honestly, it's just coffee induced.
You'll have a massive crash tonight.
Once like in the next 15 minutes, once this coffee wears out, mate, I'm a goner. I am an absolute goner. Never mind. And we'll get through. We'll get through. But James will keep it going anyway, no matter what.
Yep, I'm here.
Keeping it going. We've had the press conference by David Moyes. He turned up. Some inside jokes.
Yeah. If anyone knows the context of that last joke where he had the really weird laugh, please put it in the comments, because it
sounded like deranged, didn't it?
Yeah,
sounded like
the gorillas.
Deranged. Sounded just deranged, making his jokes, but there you go. Some sound issues again in the press conference, which is crazy, but we'll move on from that quite quickly. But it sounds like we're not going to have too many back. Well, we're not going to have anyone back. It sounds like, but it does feel like after probably Wednesday, we might start getting a few back with the 10-day gap before the game after that.
Yeah, I think we're sort of how we manage both James Garner and Idabunim. You'd think that Schmitty will start probably coming into the first team page a bit more with him saying that, he has trained a few days, and also it wasn't long ago he was playing in like the under-21s and stuff, so he's had a bit of match fitness in a way. But I definitely could, with the lack of like striking options, and especially in the recent games, once you get to that like 70th minute mark and Betwood does start to tire a bit, you want to start getting like a player like Schmitty on. So I think maybe tomorrow's a bit too soon for Schmitty, but I think Wednesday, I reckon he'll at least be on the bench.
Do you Wednesday?
Yeah.
Interesting. After Wednesday, then it is 10 days to that Wolves game.
Yeah.
And then there's another couple of weeks till the West Ham game. We've only got 2 games in March. So ample opportunity. I think for the West Ham game, I reckon 3 or 4 will be back for that. But you might be right. There might be a couple more. You mentioned players being back sort of on the grass. That's a term that we never really hear, is it? But excuse me, we were live at 2:15.
Yeah, we were live. 100% live at 2:15.
We were live at 2:15. I don't know what clock you wake off, but we were here. We were live at 2:15.
This stream's been on for 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and it's 19 minutes past.
There you go. Preach. Absolute preach there. How terrible. That's just not on. Yeah. It was weird. That was a weird thing at the end when he was like, someone's contracts need to be sorted not far from here. I was like, is he talking about Andy Neil? Is that who he was talking about?
The only thing that I thought that could potentially mean is that maybe one of the journalists has interviewed a player just before the press conference or something, and maybe that's sort of him saying like, yeah, he's going to get one. I don't know, but I couldn't make sense of it.
No, I couldn't. It definitely felt like an inside joke, didn't it? Felt like an inside joke.
Just a bit of an awkward laugh. But I liked them saying that if we're going to sell Jared Branthwaite, we want bags of money.
Bags of it.
Yeah.
Absolute bags of it.
Rather, I feel like a Sean Dyche answer would have been like, we'll have to do this to comply with the PSR and stuff like that. But it was, we want loads of money for him if he's going. And I like that.
A few people are saying that he was joking about Liverpool players and about Salah. But I don't know. When he first said about out-of-contact players, I did think sort of like Liverpool because of all the drama they're having.
Yeah.
But I don't understand what the context would be. Would it? Like,
Is he trying to say we're going to go after Salah?
I just don't understand what context. I'm not saying you're not right. I just don't know what context. Maybe he was just having a dig back because Humpty Dumpty had a dig at us over the stadium stuff.
Yeah.
But I like that. I like two Merseyside managers swinging blows at each other. That means we're back.
I know, but I thought Slot was alright, but he's going into a bit of a clot now where he seems just so like everything's about him. It's getting on my nerves a bit now.
No, I get it, right? But I have no issue with that. I know when people used to say about Klopp, with the true colours. I was like, so what? If he was our manager, that's what we'd want to hear. And I want my manager and their manager trading blows. I want that.
I know, but it's just there's a point where it's just a bit big-headed about everything, where it's like, oh yeah, this is their cup final, and Aston Villa, he was saying, I bet they don't do sell out for everything, but they do when Liverpool come here and stuff. It's like he's falling into the clock trap,
mate. That's the cracks. Seen him the other day in the Puss in Boots film. He was amazing in it. It's tremendous. And the other one he mentioned was the PSR. We've got one final bill to pay. What does that mean?
I don't know.
David Moyes is leaving more questions than answers.
Yeah. That is, what does that mean? We've got to sell stuff?
I don't know what he meant by that. No, it was like we've got one more bill to play and we're clear. It was like, what does that mean? What does that, David? What you like some Scandinavian noir drama? You're not giving us any. You're giving us nothing.
Making us ask more questions.
I know.
No answers.
The next thing is a giant polar bear will turn up and a smoke monster. It's a very early 2000s reference.
Yeah, well,
very early. Excuse me. Daniel's asking the questions that matter. Why does James not wear Toffee TV merch?
How long have I worked here? Since October. And Ped keeps saying he'll get me some and then doesn't get me. He got me a Christmas jumper and that's it.
You never wore it though.
I did. There's video evidence. Look at the Christmas show. I'm wearing my Christmas jumper.
If you had more up in the Christmas show though, there would have been absolute murder, wouldn't there? So, and also James has always got to be prepared for Bear Grylls.
Well, you know what?
Come and grab him.
The new stadium, it's not going to faze me. I'm going to be ready for it.
No.
You were freezing, I'll be fine. Honestly,
to me, Bear Grylls is going to turn up and be all over James. like a rash. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, I could have done with a couple more players back for this game, just because it's a double header, 2 games coming quick again. Could have done with, maybe just a couple back, just to have the availability of like 3 or 4 that can come off the bench, and if you want to change it up for Wednesday night, you can change it up. So that's slightly disappointing for me. That
I think as well, sort of the players that are missing now, you're sort of a bit gutted that they're gone, for the likes of, like a Patterson and stuff, who sort of never really held a position down. And you look at the squad now and you see the likes of like Lindstrom and Jake O'Brien, who have sort of revamped their careers at Everton under Moyes, and for him to be injured from basically nothing, it was training or something, wasn't it? Just before, was it just before the derby? Where it was the week before, he said, like, I'll pass him up in. And the sort of, for him to just be gone that way and not really have the chance under Moyes when we do have loads of games and we sort of need this depth, to be, I don't know, a bit upsetting, innit, for him. Especially because you've seen glimpses of what he could be, and I feel like under Moyes maybe you could get more out of him, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you get in this team though, because just because of the way we're switching into a back 3. And
would you not think he'd be good competition for Lindstrom?
Yeah. I think there's an opportunity there. I don't think the skill sets are the same, but it's good to have. It's good to have the players that can come off the bench if we need them. He did say that there's no more injuries, which is the most important thing. Yeah. I think they all had 2 or 3 days off last week as well, which is good, and they will probably have jetted off all around Europe, I imagine.
Didn't Beto go to Lisbon? He got spotted in the airport again.
Did he? Yeah, just jump on a private jet and get going. But
respect it.
That's what. Yeah, why not? Why not? You get 2 or 3 days off. We just sit in the house with me and our bills.
Yeah.
They like get me in the sun, a bit. But it would be nice to have like. I think I've mentioned this a few times. Sorry, I'm getting really like nostrily now. I'd all cleared up before after I'd had the shower, but
Just tissue.
it's all now I've got so it's all come back of my nose. Excuse me. I am feeling a lot better. It's just all pouring into my nose. It would be lovely, wouldn't it, if like football clubs, I don't know, maybe every week or every couple of weeks sort of just went, right, here's the injury list. Boom, 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 and you knew exactly what was going on. McNeil, when's McNeil back? You know, when's...
Well, there's stuff going around about Bros, you know, isn't it? Saying that he'll be back in like 2 weeks. Like he'll be back on like the 10th of March or something like that. And so, it's like, is that true, or is he going to be out for the rest of the season, or what's happening with him? And then you're right with Dwight McNeil. I don't even know what's up with Dwight McNeil still.
I think he had a knee injury and he had an operation, so obviously it's...
But didn't he get an injury and then carried on playing for like a few games after it, and then was like,
probably.
Sean Dyche took him out because he was like, we're going to let him rest it, and now he's gone for ages. Does that make sense?
I don't know. But the thing about it is, what I don't get is, I understand sometimes when a player's out and the club doesn't really want to let you know because it's almost like tactical. But I do think with the long-term injuries, it would be an idea just to like tell everybody on the website or anything.
Yeah.
Dwight McNeil is... There used to be a brilliant website. I don't know if it's still there, called Physio Room. I wonder if it's still there. Let me have a little look. And it would give like a list of every team. Yeah, hang on. It still exists. It used to tell you, based off when a player was injured and what he was injured with, it used to tell you how long they expected the player to be out for.
Right, yeah. If you go on FOTMob and stuff, I think it tells you, but
yeah, but this
it's never
was like,
accurate.
This was more accurate because they would know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a thingy and it says Everton have had calf injuries, 2 back injuries, 2 muscle injuries, an ankle injury, a foot injury, a knee injury times 2, knock and a hamstring. But I can't see any lists, so maybe it doesn't do it anymore. It's got injury type frequency. Hamstring injuries are the biggest injury now in the Premier League, 47 this season, and that's because due to obviously players, they increase pace. But it used to be a really good website. I just wish they'd do that a little bit more and just keep people up to date.
Yeah, just a bit more clarity on it all.
Yeah.
Especially there's just so much stuff that goes out as well, saying like players are going to be back at this time and going to be back at another time. It's just like Calvert-Lewin. He was meant to be that he was out for the rest of the season, or he'd have like the final 2, and then now there's stuff saying he's going to be back next month. And yeah, I think you're right.
No, I mean, when a player gets injured, obviously the first couple of weeks, there could be swelling on an injury, which means that you can't determine
Just how long it'll be.
how long it's going to be. Obviously, you go for scans and stuff, if something's a tear and it needs an operation, then obviously then you're in trouble. Any kind of operation, you've got problems. I mean, it's cleaner, but obviously you've got to heal, so it's going to take longer. And clubs will go round that. And we've had situations in the last couple of years where we've waited and waited and waited, so that we wouldn't have to do operations, and then have ended up having to do operations. So timescales can change because. But a lot of it is because there's so much misinformation, or clubs aren't telling you exactly what's going on. And I don't quite understand that, because if a player's injured and he's not coming back, then I'd rather they just said, yeah, it's probably going to be like 4 months, but it might be 3 months.
Yeah.
But when they come back a month early, you're like, oh, brilliant, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of it as well. But then the other part of it might be they tell you the date, and when you get closer to that date, they go, oh no, they go quiet. They go quiet on it. So a couple of people telling us to
what?
A couple of people just telling us Premier League injuries. I'm just going to check that one now.
To be fair, though, if you look at Everton's injured list and Man United, they're probably one of the only teams in the league who've got it just as bad as at the minute.
Yeah,
we've got loads of players out.
We've got 9, according to this. Just trying to see if I can find. Mangala, yeah, obviously we all knew about that. Dwight McNeil, knee injury. On the 11th of February, best part of 6 weeks. Potential return 2nd of April. Condition not available. Ruled out. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, thigh injury. 31st of January. It just says what Moyes said. Potential return 8th of March. Brozier, ankle foot injury. 8th of March again.
8th of March, so that's quick.
Wolves, innit? That's Wolves. Seamus, calf, shin, heel. I mean, the manager was asked today and didn't give anything, did he, on Seamus?
Yeah, he got asked, didn't he, about would you like to see him playing Goodison before it goes? And he said, yeah, I'd like to, but I want to put my strongest team out.
But let's get it right. If Seamus has got a broken leg, Everton will get a kit on him and play him for the last minute at the Southampton game.
Yeah.
Nathan Patterson
got a cast on.
Yeah, Nathan Patterson hamstring injury. Potential return 22nd tomorrow. Late fitness test, 25% chance. But the manager sort of overruled that. Chimiti, thigh injury, 22nd tomorrow. Late fitness test, 25%.
No, yeah, well, he's back. He said he's trained twice, didn't he, on the grass?
In Jai, no return day, currently being assessed, ruled out. A lot of the time it is, like for the first couple of weeks, it is just about letting the injury settle down and getting to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
And seeing where you are after those 2 weeks. And that's when you start making decisions, a couple of scans. Couple of scans to just see where we are. But it would be nice. It would be nice if clubs did tell everyone what the situation was.
But then you are right in a sense about the sort of tactical approach to it, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, Everton fans knowing when a couple of players are going to be back isn't really going to...
I know, but it could alter out. Like, for instance, Man United's not going to play the same way with Jack Harrison as if we had him die back right now.
No, but I think Njai's a different one though, isn't he? If Everton said, Njai's going to be 8 weeks, then I don't think the team we're playing in 8 weeks goes, well, you said he was coming back. It just gives us, as a fan, just that little bit of a glimpse into just knowing.
But what if it means in like a sense where, say, we're going to this game and Beto's picked up a knock? Do you reckon we should say it in this press conference for it being tomorrow, or do you reckon he just hides it in a sort of a tactical way?
No, I mean, I think I take that point completely. Where the manager won't tell everyone that a player is injured because obviously he doesn't want to reveal his hand.
Yeah.
So I take that of like when he says there's no injuries, that doesn't mean there's no injuries.
Yeah.
I have no issue with that whatsoever, saying that. He'll come out after the game and probably go, oh, he felt something in the morning if some player wasn't available for that game, or he's got a bit of an illness or whatever.
Yeah.
He's picked that up overnight or whatever, but I have no problem with that as such. That's a tactical thing. You don't want to give... The same way also, if you've got a player coming back and it's that game, we might have a couple on the bench. Who's to say that Patterson and Schmitti aren't available tomorrow? Not saying they are, but if they turn up and the management's all, they had brilliant training session Friday.
Yeah.
And they looked ready. I'm not saying they are, but you know what I mean. It's like you wouldn't have any problems with that whatsoever. But I just mean if a player's out, and most of ours are out for 6 to 8 weeks, it'd just be nice to go. This is what they're out. This is why they're out, and this is how long they're going to be. That's it.
Yeah.
That is it. Just having a look at some of your comments.
But yeah, back on that point, I think you're definitely right with just a bit more clarity because Dwight McNeil, he was out for ages. No one really knew how serious it was or anything. Now people have realised that it is serious.
Someone asked the question before: where would Dwight McNeil play in this team? In a Moyes team?
Yeah, because he sort of lost this position really, hasn't he? Because with Alcaraz and Decore, because you can't really. He was sort of forced into there, weren't he? But on the right, under Lampard, he was awful on the right, weren't he? Because people always say that because he could cut in and hit it with his left, but because his right foot's so weak, you can't really play him on the right. On the left, is he quick enough? Or do you play him left back?
I honestly believe the only position for him in this team right now is left midfield.
Yeah.
I honestly think that's the only position. And I don't think he'd start. Well, over in Jai, certainly.
No,
He
definitely
might get in ahead of Harrison.
Yeah. He's a squad player, isn't he? Know?
But I don't think he'd get in that number 10 role. I don't think he. I just don't think he offers enough. I don't think he presses high enough. Don't get me wrong. I want him back. I want him to have the opportunity to see him in that role or any role. But we want the players back so we can obviously make that assessment.
Yeah.
So we have players who can come on, and clubs like Everton never ever have a full squad or a first team. And if they do, you should be prepared to make a change between games as well.
Yeah.
We've been stuck in this eternal loop as Evertonians of thinking that it's the best 11 and anything below that.
Isn't good.
And this goes back to the Moyes days of like not having enough players to have a bench. And by the way, this is when Moyes was Everton manager, the benches were, was it 7, but you could only bring on 3, was it, or something?
That wasn't that long ago.
That's
Rich, yeah.
So, you've got to get into that situation where you can go, Jack Harrison plays tomorrow, and then on Wednesday, Dwight McNeil might come in, or Njai might start in the number 10 role tomorrow. But then on Wednesday, he's playing in left midfield, and someone else is in the number 10 who's more fitting for an away game. You've got to have more options, and that's what Everton.
Do you think though, with under Dyche, sort of McNeil was our main sort of, you want to say outlet, where anywhere he would get the goals and he would get the assists sort of, and even now I think, despite the fact he's been out the past few months, he's still up there with like our top goal scorers for the season.
Yeah.
So do you think that was more so because he was so suited to a Dyche system and like Dyche sort of had him as like the main person to target, or do you think, and for that reason, do you think he'd struggle to get into a Moyes team where, you know, we've seen it, there's a bit more people, because you're attacking more, there's more people getting involved, there's more people scoring, more people getting assists and stuff. Because I think that's sort of the big part of it, isn't it? Of whether he fits in, really.
Peter J, thanks for the super chat. You've just said 2. 2 people saying left back. No, McNeil would be coming back to a completely different world, won't he? He'd be coming back to a completely different world. It's like he was a caveman and he was frozen in the ice. Captain America, essentially, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Captain America. He's coming. He's being frozen in the ice, and he's going to wake up in the modern era. And yeah.
In Captain America, you got the radio on.
He's got the radio on, and he's listening to
Sean Dyche press conference.
Sean Dyche. And the lady's like, everything okay, Dwight? He's like, what year is this?
I played in this game.
I played in that game. I know, I played in that game. He runs out, and Yeah.
Bramley Moore.
Charlie Alcaraz just stops him outside Bramley Moore and just says,
Beto's got his player of the month.
yeah, he's like, yeah, Beto scored. Beto's the Premier League leading scorer. And he's like, oh, ahead of date. That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? I mean, I think we've just literally maybe written the new Captain America film there. But it will be a different time for Dwight McNeil, because I don't think I think when he was in the side, he was there. He get the assists. He became really important because of the way we played.
Yeah,
and he was starting to pick up like assists in normal play as well. So, it'll be interesting. And obviously, Dwight McNeil under Lampard was rubbish, and under Dwight McNeil he was good.
Really bad
yeah, it was terrible. And I just hope there's more to come from Dwight McNeil as an Everton player under Moyes now than there was under Dyche, because it's weird. It's like Dyche give him the arm round him and obviously settled him down at the football club. But it'll be interesting to see how Moyes takes that on him. It's not a...
You spoke a lot about the coaching side of it, that, sort of how we haven't played to Beto's strengths and now we've switched it, and you can also just see general like improvements in his overall game. And Dwight McNeil's essentially been managed by Dyche his whole career. So it'd be interesting to see. I mean, I know we had Frank Lampard, but that never went well for him. But it'd be interesting to see how sort of Moyes adapts him, really, isn't it? I just think he just needs something on his right foot. Just a bit of training.
Yeah, if I was Moyes, I would just get him against the wall every day. Just kick that wall.
Just so he's not so reliant on his left, because I think if he had a right foot, I think he'd be regarded a lot better than he is at the minute. Even though I don't necessarily hate him. But it's just when he's spinning around in circles so he can keep it on his left, that's so frustrating.
I'm spilling my coffee now. I'm spilling my coffee. Yeah, we'll see what happens, but just gotta get him back. Get everyone back. But it'd be great. I would have him training every day for an hour. On his right foot.
Wait, I have a question for you actually about both Man United and Everton that I asked Baz the other day, and I just want to see what yours would be. You know the way Moyes just came into Everton and we've done really well, and we've got, what was it, 13 and out of 15, is it? No, 13 out of 18 and stuff like that. Why do you think it's been such a struggle for Amorim to go in? And the way we had a debate on tag once where it was about, should managers stick to the game plan or should they adapt? Do you think that just shows Amorim's weakness as a manager, sort of how his Man United reign's been at the minute? Like, he's so fixated on this one system.
No, because we've had this conversation before.
I know, that's what I mean, but these are the two parallels of where Moyes just came in and adapted and Amorim sort of...
But has Moyes adapted though, or Moyes just doing what he's always done?
I think he's there. I think he's looked at the squad and we don't play the same as what we played under Dyche. It's not, we've went away from sort of the long ball, we've playing it more and beyond, and but more emphasis on attacking.
Moyes is just doing what he needs to do to get wins. Amorim doesn't need wins. Amorim needs to get the system and his managerial role into Manchester United.
But that's at the detriment of Man United, though.
Yeah, but to think about it, but you can win games of football in the short term, and they don't mean anything. But if you've got long term goals and you want to change the style of football and get everyone, look at our first few games, right? Couple of games trying to pass it out from the back. It was nervy. Feeling it was a little bit like, ooh, Bournemouth, we get caught. But in the long term plan, if you don't start somewhere, then how are you ever going to get to that place if you're not doing it in the real world? And that's what Amorim's trying to do. He wants to play a system. He's been brought in to do a job, and he has to stick to his guns. Otherwise, what's the point? If they were in the bottom three, then that's different. But they're not. They're in mid-table, and they're not going to get Europe unless...
But at what point does it start to change? And at what point, where he has to make so many X amount of signings, whatever...
They will have to make signings because they're not good enough, and they will have to make signings, but players won't get better.
But player for player, they have a stronger team than Everton. I'd say so.
I reckon loads of their players are shite. It's just Man United.
But they've also got players who are...
It's just Man United tax.
Bruno Fernandes, Kobe Mainoo.
Kobe Mainoo's injured though, isn't he?
And
you can say Casemiro, but Casemiro's legs have gone.
Ugarte.
Bruno's 30, so he's on the
Yeah, but
on the dick now.
31.
No, I know, but the point being is if you don't start playing a style of play that you're going to continue with, then when are you ever going to do what you've been told to do? Like, when are you ever going to instill? Surely this is the best time for Manchester United to put into practice a new way of playing football. Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard sell. It's a hard one, but if you want to change things, you've got to do it. You've got to get in there and change them. Oliver Chapman says on the super chat above, them form team at home are United underdogs. Don't know. Don't know if they're underdogs. Don't really particularly care. But we'll see tomorrow. See how we get on. We'll see how we go. Hang on. Nathan says NFL has an injury report list for every player of practice, and it comes out with every practice session, after every practice session. Yeah, I like that idea, but I don't think it'd happen in the Premier League. But NFL's is like...
Don't you have massive squads, don't you?
Yeah, and it's very like transparent, and if a player is not available, everyone wants to know, and they have press conferences like daily.
Yeah.
And they'll talk about why a player isn't available, because obviously, it's really important that players are fit and can play, and they'll tell them how long he's going to be out and what his chances are of getting back. Harry says he was talking about players out of contract, said we might need to look at them, and then said there's some not too far away from here. The joke was Virgil van Dijk, Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Still no need for that aggressive laugh at the end of
it. Luke says, I took the PSR bill as to get into the summer without bleaching, and then we're in the clear and don't need to worry about it. Yeah. So hopefully we won't do if that's the case. Benjamin James says James will be good for SAS Who Dares Wins.
Never watched that.
Never watched it. I think it's just like people get thrown into being in the army, don't they?
Is that because you said about me clothes being ready for any weather? Oh yeah, I'll do it. Sure.
You just ready to go?
I'm ready.
You're just ready. You're just ready to go whenever you need it. Movie Worm says maybe the last bill to pay was Dyche's payoff.
Oh yeah, does that thing came out, didn't it? About the hundreds of thousands or something you have to send when we survive.
Yeah, but I get that. That was basically saying. That. I just completely lost my train of thought because someone just sent me something. Sorry.
He was saying about the final thing, and it was Dyche's payoff.
Yeah, sorry, I was just looking at something. That was because basically Everton were saying they weren't going to give him a payoff till he was safe, and if they get safe, then they'll give him the payoff, which is what he is obviously is in his contract. There's a report just come out saying Everton face snub as David Weir decides to stay at Brighton. But that is from Matt Hughes. Matt Hughes and Tom Victor, sport trends writer. What's a sport trend writer? What's the whole lot about? I love that. That's a story where it's like no one actually knows if we've gone after Weir.
Yeah.
And now the same Weir snubbed us. So it becomes one of those things where it's like, well, no one actually said we were after him.
Yeah, where it's like they've artificially made this link that we really want Weir.
You've created a story.
Like, oh, they're not going to get Weir here, so we'll just say that never happened and they're wrong.
Yeah.
Well, then accept blame.
There's loads of those stories that happen in the summer. Loads will happen like that, where that happens all the time. Create the story, and then
You can live off that story, just keep writing about it.
and then you like
stuff.
poo-poo that story, and then it's a surefire way of getting the fan base angry in the summer. That
Yeah.
you're linked with someone, and then suddenly it's like you're not going for that player anymore, or that player's is snubbed you to go to this other club, and then everyone kicks off about it,
Yeah.
and then the next story is Everton fans kick off over missed opportunity, and it's like, well, hang on.
Yeah.
And I do feel sorry for football clubs when those things happen. That is a legitimate thing where you're just like,
It's not on you, that.
yeah, it's not real, is it? That's not real.
Could you see Everton replacing Kevin Thelwell? Or do you think this sort of, you've seen the signings that he made start to perform well, and, the money he hasn't had to spend, he could now spend. Do you think that sort of gave him like a new lease of life at Everton, that like he now will get sort of the blood from it?
I think a lot of it is on,
Because it's been difficult for him, and that interview where he came out and said about how it's been difficult and stuff was a bit eye-opening to sort of the situation.
I think a lot of it is probably on what Moyes wants, and I can understand the links to Weir because that's someone he knows,
Yeah.
and someone he can work with. Thelwell, I always feel like the Everton directors of football, since we've had that role, have really struggled to have full control. And even I think Thelwell's probably had full control maybe for like a year, and I still don't think that's long enough to put like proper plans in place, to implement proper plans to move forward. So it's funny, isn't it? Because about a month ago, the players he was getting slagged off for buying, Jake O'Brien and Beto, are now starting to pay him back.
Yeah.
And then people go, oh, actually,
Yeah.
if you played them right, if you played them the right way, then they are good players. And it was the manager. The manager wasn't playing them right. And again, that comes down to the director of football and the manager being on the same page and being that, like, again, I always go back to Moneyball and like the bit in it where he's like, he sells the other player, so he's forced to play the player because that's how the team is supposed to play. And having a lad at first base because he can hit, and it's like, well, if he's in the team, there's more chance they'll win games, because actually it's not about that side of the game. It's about getting hits and runs and then home runs and chisel dizzle and
Do you think though that although we necessarily didn't have money to spend loads in January, I think Moyes was pretty vocal in saying that like we are going to go after people and that. He was in the target, like in the room with like the scouts and stuff every day, trying to see if we could get anyone. That maybe that does show a bit of a disconnect, that they couldn't really find anyone that they were both happy and on the same page with. Or do you think that sort of they were just thinking, well, we've got enough to survive here, and sort of the wins that we got changed it around?
It's difficult, isn't it? Because they would have had situations where they would have had loads and loads of like Moyes used to have like a big wall of like just players. Like before, like a lot of it came in. What we have now, used to have this, and then it's like, who do you like? Who can you get? What are the realistic chances financially and stuff? And I think he'll have similar stuff now where it's the recruitment. Being fortunate to go in Finch Farm and see the recruitment side of things, and there are a lot of people there, and they're all working to find people. And I think Charlie Alcaraz is a perfect sort of. He's a perfect sort of example of a player that you'd go. He looked at all these different players, and he's ticked all the boxes, and then they've got him in on loan.
Yeah.
And it's about finding players like him, and they will be out there. There are players out there who can come in and make your squad better and can add something different to what you've got. But you have to, in many ways. And it sounded like, listening to Moyes last week when he spoke about him, and he sounded like he said it was more about the recruitment, wasn't it? Like, recruitment. He said it was more about like his availability. Sorry, he said his availability made him a player that we could get, like, that we were going to sign. He didn't like go on about like being an amazing player in his availability, but obviously he's ticked loads of those boxes.
Yeah,
and he's got that. They've got a deal over the line, and the lad keeps doing well. I imagine we'll sign him because I imagine they'll want to sell him. He'll want to play in the Premier League.
but do you not think that, you know, when the transfer window ended in the summer, on the last day, they were scrambling around looking, you know, for a winger, and then Broja got pulled sort of out of nowhere. Do you not think that from there that they should have had sort of a list ready with players prepared to, you know, they could get, rather than leaving it to the last day?
I just think on the last day, I think people fire all kinds of players over to you, and in the last few days, transfer window, we all know, goes mad in the last few days.
Yeah,
Deals should never get done on the last day, but yeah, deals get started and completed in the last day, and it's simply because players that you didn't think were available suddenly become available, and your need is that you have to take them, and
you can't really risk seeing what else is out there anymore and stuff.
so
like
it's a strange like process.
that. But there was stuff that came out yesterday as well, isn't it, saying that Everton are getting like a new scouting network with scouts in like different parts of Europe and stuff.
Yeah, because obviously that's a huge thing about it, isn't it?
But do you think that sort of links to that Thelwell will be staying, because why would they start this whole new scouting network?
I honestly don't know whether Thelwell will be staying. I honestly don't know that. I generally don't. But yeah, but it depends what's best practice, isn't it? What are other clubs doing? What's the is that like common for most teams now to be doing that kind of thing? Is that like the bare minimum? Are we not doing the bare minimum? And those questions. So if like we've got to start doing the bare minimum in terms of having different people in different countries, what on the ground, looking at players that we can bring in, you know, Schmitty kind of level where you're looking to bring them in young and bypass you give them the experience so that you're not having to pay 30-40 million pound for a player because you've brought them in at like 18 and 19.
Like a Brandweight, essentially.
Yeah. So, and it's a case of like, and Moyes, it's like Moyes hasn't like stood still. Of course, he's been around. He understands what is required. He's been there and at other clubs and watched football develop. He's not stupid. He's not stuck to this ideology that he had when he first came to Everton, which was it's me and the chairman and me scouts, and that's it. He understands the way football's gone, and I imagine he's quite happy to pass a lot of stuff on to the director of football and to the recruitment team and head of recruitment and all that kind of thing. So it's just about understanding, I'd imagine, what role each person plays, and it's difficult because I think what Manchester United have found is that they thought Ashworth was going to like solve all their problems in terms of recruitment, but he didn't, because he doesn't do recruitment. He does systems.
Yeah.
He puts systems in place so clubs are in a better place and everything works. So we'll see what happens. We've got no idea with Thelwell at the moment. Everton might just be putting the feelers out and saying to people, would you want to come and do this, or how would you do it, or if we give you an opportunity.
Well, there's loads of stuff linked into like new CEOs and stuff like that, isn't there? So I feel like it's having probably a revamp.
Yeah, but I mean, of course,
a bigger decision will be made towards the seat. But it'd just be nice to have that clarity of whether it's going to be Thelwell or not. But
this time now was, you were asked me before about obviously Amorim and formations. This time off the pitch for Everton is almost like a time where they are.
I know, but you can sort of do all the stuff in the background if the team is doing well.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Amorim doing bad, that's negatively affecting everyone.
Yeah, but you think that, but that's not how football necessarily works. It affects fans, but it mightn't be affecting.
Yeah, but it affects fans, and then that goes into the media, and then the media starts sort of.
Yeah, but as
stories about like how the owners are awful and everyone hates Amorim and stuff.
what?
I know, but that's...
You've got to have the bollocks to just go, none of it matters. You've got to have the bollocks in football to just go, none of that matters. What matters is here, right now, in this football
club. Surely what matters should be winning games of football.
Okay, so if you win 5 or 6 games this season, Manchester United go, right, we're just going long ball. we'll go 5-6 long ball, we'll win games, and they win 5-6 games, and then they get to the summer and the manager goes, but we're not playing long ball, we're playing this system that we were trying to play last season.
Yeah.
Then you've wasted all that time. Man United are not getting...
Say if he came in and done that and then it qualified for like European football, or they go on to win the Europa League.
But it beyond...
That makes it different then,
but it's no, because again, this is short-term wins for you. Football is all about building things for the long term. It's all about putting things in place that work. People like Sean Dyche get found out because they do things on a short-term basis, and they can't go anywhere after that. Amorim has to put his own thing in place. But anyway, that's getting away from the point. My point was going to be is that this time at Everton is bringing Moyes in, and it's sort of happened in Roma as well. Bringing Moyes in has allowed the club to be able to not have to make quick decisions. So you were here, beginning of the year, when they just took over, and Bass was a bit worried, to say the least, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was a little bit worried.
Little understatement.
Yeah. He was a little bit worried. He hadn't seen anything happen. Now, so they sacked Dyche, brought Moyes in. He's won some games.
Yeah.
And we still haven't got a CEO. We still haven't sorted out the director of football's contract. Does anyone care?
No, but that's what I'm saying. If you look at United, they're not winning. So
No, I know, but
they haven't sorted that.
but
But
that's-
that makes it worse.
What's happening on the pitch? It's football. Your idea of football, in my opinion, is very, very short-termist, and all it leads to is a system where you just keep going round in circles,
Yeah.
and winning games of football isn't the be-all and end-all if you aren't creating something that can last forever. That's what I'm saying, right? But for Everton, winning games of football is all that mattered because of where we were in the league. But by winning games of football and getting clear of it,
Yeah.
everyone's happy, and the CEO and the director of football are, which may have always been something that were going to take time,
Yeah.
do seem to be getting done in the background without any kind of anyone looking on and saying what's going on, because we are winning and we are happy. And I know that sort of contradicts what I said about Manchester United, but their problems are not our problems. I don't think football clubs you can ever go, the two things are the same. But for us, we will bring a CEO in, and obviously we've been linked with the guy from Leeds. We will make a decision on the director of football, but we don't have to make decisions based on the anger of the fans. And you are right, it would be so much easier for Manchester United if they were winning. But it's different because their club is just a mess.
Yeah.
So it would help them, the people in the background, massively if Amorim was winning. But Amorim basically will turn around and go, we won't be able to do things long term if I'm not allowed to implement my plan. Otherwise, what was the point in bringing me? But for Everton, forget about Man United. For Everton, it's a case of we can get the CEO situation sorted, we can get the director of football sorted without the worry that was hanging over us at the beginning of the year, because we made a decision, and they did make a decision, and it was a quick decision that they made.
Yep.
And that's allowed us to make decisions that can affect our club long term and be very, very positive. So they're almost like the opposite ends of each other, the Manchester United and the Everton situation.
Yeah.
We brought a manager in whose only job was to try and get us away from the relegation zone. Doesn't matter how he plays.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter any of that kind of stuff, so that we can have time to bring in people off the pitch. Now, the Freakins looked at the Roma situation, got that sorted, and again, they won last night, didn't they? They went through in Europe. They got that sorted and thought that template will work again for Everton, and they've gone with it, and it's given them time off the pitch. And by the time summer comes, when the thing really starts going, they'll have a CEO in place, the director of football will be sorted, and hopefully all of these plans that the director of football wants to do with the manager will start kicking off. So it's that has we're like we've got like short term to long term plans. Manchester United have got long term plans, basically, haven't they? By the looks of it.
I just feel I know, and I get your point. I understand that you put it in so for the future and stuff. But at what point does it become sort of detrimental and you're not really improving anything anymore? And you're doing it for your own sake. Like you look at like a Vincent Kompany at Tottenham.
Yeah.
I mean not Tottenham, at Burnley, where Burnley couldn't play the way he wanted to, but obviously it meant he could go to Bayern Munich, but Burnley got relegated. At what point does the manager?
Burnley could play the way he wanted to. They just weren't. They just didn't have the quality of player.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But at what point does he go away from that and sort of do it where he focuses on winning?
But he was focused on winning. It's just that they couldn't win.
That's what I mean, though. But they were continuing to play that sort of passing football. My example.
I think you're a victim of Everton. You're a massive victim of Everton. No, you are. You are. You see things in really short-term survival. Like, that's maybe why you're always dressed like this, right? You see things in, like, proper survivalist, like, nature. Whereas football clubs have to have long-term goals. And whatever that long-term goal is, you have to let it play out. It's like Arteta put a team in place that was really, really young. And one season he's getting beaten by Spurs and they're in the Champions League.
Yeah.
To the next one, to the next 3 years, they're back in the Champions League and they're the second best team in the league. And it's about making that last step now. Mm-hmm. But you can't, unless you're very, very wealthy, I don't think you can do that in football anymore because of PSR. So you have to put plans in place that don't rely on you going out and buying an amazing centre forward or whatever that thing is. You know what I mean? But I do think you're a little bit of a victim of the Everton scenario, which is, think about Everton, right? Last couple of years, or last 3 years, right? January. So new manager comes in.
Yep.
He does crap, sack him. Right? New manager comes in, gets a bounce. Does all right for 18 months, runs out of ideas because all he can do is play long ball football, sack him. Next manager does the same thing. And that had to stop somewhere, but it stopped with, I think, a fella who understands the values of this football club and can take us forward and will know when to get off the roundabout in many ways. But I think Everton have created this scenario of just survival in the last few years, like Beyonce said, essentially. And I think you're a little bit caught in that mindset. Whereas I think if you want to be a proper big club and go forward, I think you have to plan long term. And if that means you're crap and you have to change the style of play and you are still crap till you all get it. This is what Postecoglou, I think, is trying to do at Spurs as well. He's trying to say we're going to play this way, and it's not always going to work, but we'll do it bit by bit. And if you hand me better plays every year, we will improve every year. But you're right, there is that tipping point of like, it ain't improving. Yeah. It just isn't improving. But
is there not the tipping point as well if you just sort of being naive with it now? Where it's sort of, Postecoglou, he's still playing the way that he played if he had Romero and Van der Ven, but he hasn't. He's got Ben Davies and Archie Gray centre half.
Yeah.
At what point is that just him being stupid and just doing it for his personal?
Okay. So what if they win the Europa League and they're in the Champions League next year? Mm-hmm. Will Spurs have had a successful season?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not going to know till May.
Yeah. But it's just so I get, you're building for the future and you do it, but it's just sort of what's the point where you just say you're just losing too many games now?
Yeah, but
it's not positive anymore.
But I know I totally get it. I just think
pressure on himself, and I know you're saying, yeah, I get.
But what would he change to though? Because he plays three at the back, and his three at the back are like De Ligt, Harry Maguire, and who's the other one? Yoro, yeah.
Martin,
so what does he change to?
But I'm just if his system doesn't work, why does he carry on playing it and then play?
But it did work though. It worked at Sporting. where he had the players.
Yeah.
And his system did work very successfully. So why would you employ a manager and then tell the manager, just because things are not going right, to change the system?
But do you think if Pep Guardiola managed Man United now, he'd play the same way that he'd play with City? Because I don't think he would. And it's the same with, like, say, if Klopp went in or someone like that. And, like, so the point that I was getting with Burnley is that it worked in the Championship, but then when they went up, it doesn't work anymore and they don't have the quality to sort of match the players. So why is he continuing to do that?
Because he hasn't got another way of managing.
But that's what I mean. But at what point is that?
But what other way of managing is there? Football managers now don't play defensive football. They just don't play it. There's no. If you can name me a manager in the Premier League now, they've all been sacked.
Yeah.
The two managers this season who were trying to play defensive football have both been sacked. Dyche and the fella at West Ham.
Lopetegui, yeah.
They've both been sacked. Defensive football doesn't work like that anymore, and that's what I'm saying. Everyone's playing like front foot attacking football now, and it's just it's an arms race of players. And the way Ipswich will most likely go down, but it doesn't make their coach a bad coach. I
know, but at what point is he sacrificing Ipswich just for the sake of him as a manager?
But he's not sacrificing,
because that's definitely what Company done. So Company got the Bayern Munich job because you could see what he was trying to do at Burnley, but he didn't have the quality of players.
But if he can't manage them in another way, then that's not up to him that's not up to the manager to change his style. A manager should never change his style. Never change his style, in my opinion. The club have to make a decision on whether to sack him or not. That's the decision to be made. But I don't think a manager should ever change his style.
Yeah.
So I don't think anyway. You employ someone and you say on the basis, if Burnley wanted to play, they wanted to change from Dyche to an attacking team.
Yeah.
And they brought Vinny Company in and he changed. They get to the Premier League and suddenly their players are nowhere near the same as what Ipswich have got this season. Nowhere near as good.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Vincent gets a knock on the door going, could you be more defensive? He was like, well, what did you bring me here for then? You asked me. Go and get Dyche then if you want to do that. But if you really want to win games of football, go and get me better players. Because that's all that matters at the end of the day. Better players is all that matters. Better players. The same way that we said under Dyche we thought our team was better. And it is better. It's proved it's better. Yeah. Because actually our manager, this manager, is more attacking. There's a video on 442 YouTube saying about, like...
I said on the last show not to watch that.
Why?
I don't know. It's funny that...
Well, it's a good video.
Yeah.
But it's a good video. And it's presented in a way that is interesting. It's like, we've gone from being a team who create no chances to a team that create the most chances in the Premier League. By, like, subtle little changes. Now, maybe everything they're saying in the video isn't correct, but because we've been more attacking, like we said, we're scoring more goals and we're winning more games. Now, it's a short sample size. I understand that, but if you wanted Manchester United, maybe what Manchester United should have done this season is done what we've done and said, right, we'll see the season out with someone who can do it. Pick this club apart, right? But they did that with Ralph Ragnick, and he told them all the home truths, and they didn't want to listen. And if they'd listen, maybe they wouldn't be in the situation they are now. But when they sacked Erik ten Hag and brought this fella in,
but didn't they get ten Hag as sort of a project manager, and that's why they stick to him, like for this season, and it obviously didn't work out.
Yeah, but ultimately, he had enough time. And he couldn't get his style across. I don't think Amorim's had hardly any time to get his style across because he just hasn't the players, and it's a massive change. And having players like Maguire who are not, don't forget pace is the thing. If you're playing like three at the back, it's all about pace. Yeah. Same with Spurs, it's all about pace. And this is the thing. This is the thing with football. It's all about pace and the right players now. If you don't have them, you won't be able to play systems. But I'm just a great believer in, if you're going to bring in someone to do a job, you've got to let them do the job.
I know, but if you also look at just the stats of how quick managers turn around the Premier League and stuff, where...
Doesn't work.
What?
Doesn't sacking managers, doesn't work.
Yeah.
But you've got to give... I'd love to see what Bournemouth squad looks like now compared to the one that he took over. I'd love to see what the differences are, how many players he's added to it. Because I imagine that's a massive part of their success, is how many players he's added to that team that suit the way they play. So, and that'll be the thing in the summer. If Amorim can't get the players that he requires in the summer, he might just throw his hand in. He might just go, what's the point? And I don't, because his reputation is being harmed more than Manchester United is. Because Manchester United's a shit show.
Yeah.
But I think if you employ someone, me personally, I think if you employ someone and they've proved that they're good at the job, I think you've got to let them do the job. Doesn't always work out like that, and you do put people in place who aren't maybe good at their job and they get found out, and you have to make that change. But yeah. But sometimes just being that short-termism. Man United, because of the short-termism, are here.
Yeah.
Because they brought Moyes in and they already had issues, and they just thought swapping the manager was just gonna be fine. And it's not, because they already had issues. They were way behind the curve of how where football was changing.
But there's only meant to be a shortlist drawn up, isn't there, for replacements for Amorim? It's like Zidane and stuff are on it. Don't know.
But I don't think you can have people like that until your club's stable.
Yeah.
Like Real Madrid.
Zidane's got no reason to come out of retirement. He won 3 back-to-back Champions Leagues and retired.
So Real Madrid, Real Madrid are really stable, aren't they, as a football club? Like really, really stable. So they could go and get any manager they wanted and just drop him in.
Yeah.
Anyone they wanted, just drop him in there, and it'll just keep going as long as he understands the talent pool. And Man United can't do that, and when that's what they should have done, and that's what you would do with like someone like Zidane or whatever. But if it's someone like Amorim, you've got to allow him time, I think. But they're miles away, because the quality of the player is rubbish. Quality of the player is awful. Let's just have a look on Premier. Let's have a look. I have no idea about the Leeds CEO. What's your take on the Leeds CEO?
No idea. I seen he was at West Ham when they got the new stadium, and he was at Arsenal or something when they got the new stadium. So I think that's about it. Yeah, that's all I know.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got really good experience.
You need John Blaine for this.
Yeah, he's got really good experience. If they've gone for him, we'll have to wait and see in the next 10 days or so what happens. Phil says 4-4-2 video is flawed. Says we play 3 at the back whilst attacking, which is strange as Jake O'Brien plays an advanced roll down the right. The reason we're scoring goals is easy, passing the ball in front of our players rather than boot to their heads. Yeah, I think the video is a little bit more about the system, and it's become a big system in Europe about going to a 3 at the back and having a 4 square in the middle. I think it's a bit more. I think it's generic in terms of, but in terms of like just looking at the numbers, we were right down the bottom in that corner, and then now we're in the top corner. So, and again, the sample size is different. So, Benjamin James says this is actually a good thing for Amorim because he's got half a season to look at the team and weed out the bad players.
I don't even get half a season at this rate though.
Bainey says I go back to whoever made the choice to bring in Mopai. If that was Tellwell, then it's incompetence. I think it was hard for the Doff to work with Dyche because he wasn't progressive. Moyes was a good Doff. Could be better as long as we don't have to sell flagship players as we did last time around. James says, agree with James. The comparison between Amorim and Dyche are there to see. Amorim's job is to win games of football. There must be a point where these players aren't getting it and he has to change the system or change the players. Well, yeah, it's changed the players, but he hasn't got any players to change. And the summer will come and he will hopefully get new players. But I just don't think there's any point in giving a manager a job and not letting him do it. Just don't think there's any point. Mark says, if we change to an NFL system, McNeil could be a kicker. Comes on for corners and subbed. Fair enough. Fair enough. Carl Byron says Leeds CEO grassed on us though, hence points deduction. Did he though? I don't know. I don't really care about stuff like that. If you're the best person for the job, you're the best person for the job. I don't think you have to worry about stuff like that. Right. My battery is about to die. Internally.
Oh,
so
nice.
Not my phone, like my internal battery is about to die. Yeah. Make sure you check out Starting 11 show. Make sure you check out
Starting 11 came out 6 minutes ago.
Match preview, all that, and catch you after the game tomorrow. See you all later.